it seems like. All right. Just to make sure, San Diego, are we live?
We are.
All right.
Yeah, we are.
All right. Good morning and good evening, everyone. It's Isaac here again. It's my pleasure to be here at another significant AMA session with BNBChain and Quest3. Our founder Boyan is here today as well, and we do have LZ from BNBChain and Max from Quest3 as our lovely guest. Corresponding with our recent P12 Arcana event, a lot more details and undisclosed news will be covered today. So stay tuned. And if you haven't joined P12 OMG, please check out our P12 Arcana site and join now. P12 OMG is a low entry barrier event designed for gamers to participate, and a winner have the chance to win up to 5,000 USDCs in total. And without further ado, let's dive straight into the AMA. And today I have a co-host, my colleague San Diego here joining us today. San Diego, can you please give us a brief intro of yourself?
Yeah, sure. What's up, everybody? It's San Diego Lotus from Project 12, and I'm just really glad here that we can talk to our friends from BNBChain and Quest3. Really excited.
All right, guys. So today we will be talking about Web3 gamings and esports in general. You'll be hearing a lot of insight, thoughts, and opinions about Web3 gamings, traditional gamings, and our existing problems. So stay tuned and let's dive into the first intro part of the AMA. As I said earlier, we're lucky and pleased to have a guest from BNBChain today, LZ. Thank you for coming to our AMA, LZ, and please kindly give a brief intro about yourself and BNBChain, please.
For sure. So, hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you are in the world. This is LZ from BNBChain team, and I'm actually very excited to be here today with Project 12 and Quest3 on this session to just, chat about two of my passions, gaming and also blockchain. So, some of you may actually ask, what is BNBChain? So I get it that today the topic is on games and esports. So I'm not going to derail off today's topic. BNB Chain is the largest decentralized public chain by DAU today, and this is accomplished in just 2 short years. Home to over 1,300 DApps and millions of users, BNB Chain provides a robust and also stable blockchain for developers to build on. So I was actually trying to look for justification for me to be on this session today with you guys. So I tried out the P12 platform earlier this week, and I realized I wasted 4,500 hours of my life away on Dota 2. And being in blockchain for about 7 years now, I guess I'm a qualified degen to speak on today's topic. Thank you.
Wow, that's a lot of hours. Boyan, how many hours do you have on Dota 2?
I have multiple accounts. On record, it says 2K, but I highly doubt.
Yeah, probably more than that. All right. Great intros from LZ. Thank you. And we also have our lovely guest, Max from Quest3. Among our partners, we're thrilled to have Quest3 sponsoring our event as a co-host. Today, we have Max tuned in and listen and share. Max, can you introduce yourself in Quest3 as well? Thank you.
Sure thing. So first of all, I'm also very pleased to be here today. It's a great pleasure to talk to you guys. So just a quick info about me. So I'm Max. I'm head of global business development at Quest3. I'm currently residing in the lovely city of Vienna, Austria, which is also where I'm originally from. And I've been in the crypto space for quite a few years and gathered experience by working on several different projects, also in the SocialFi area and working with a lot of GameFi projects as well. At Quest3, we're dedicated to providing a wide variety of community growth services for Web3 projects of all kinds and fields, and as a place of gathering for thousands of Web3 native communities to bring these people together and together achieve effective and organic user growth. So we offer a complete set of all-in-one growth tool products, which is not only user-friendly, fully permissionless, and autonomous, but also enables DeFi, for example, GameFi, NFT, DAOs, and various other projects to build their own growth engines and to acquire users in a more efficient and low-cost way. So you might ask yourself, what kind of products is he actually talking about here? So currently we have around 40 plus quest and event templates on-chain as well as off-chain, as well as customizable API quests available. These are all completely free and open for everyone and constantly growing in variety and number. And besides, we recently also added a campaign section for projects to co-host activities with up to 100 of their favorite partners, which could be interesting for an anniversary campaign, for example, or also for those coming together at a hackathon. And as of today, Quest3 has accumulated more than 350,000 users, as well as around 6,000 communities in total.
Great, great. Thank you, Max. And as you know, this AMA is about Web3 gamings and esports. Just out of curiosity, do you personally play games? What type of games that you specifically like?
Yeah, so I actually also used to play quite a lot games in my youth, or a couple of years ago at least. At the current moment, I'm not playing too much, but I'm working with a lot of GameFi projects from various ecosystems and chains. So it's quite an interesting field for me to work with these people and also with these teams, because the number of teams coming from Web 2 and also like game development into Web 3 is quite surprisingly big, actually, even now in such a bear market situation, kind of. So that's also something I'm looking forward to. And later on, we're also going to talk about the further development of the GameFi space. So that's also something I'm looking forward to.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much. And yeah, finally, we have Boyang, our founder here at P12, back into the game. Boyang, it's the second time, and it's been a while since we have you on the stage. Um, can you please also give a brief intro about yourself and Project 12, please?
Hi all, it's a great pleasure to be here and great pleasure to have friends, our co-hosts, Quest3 and BNBChain to join in this session. This is Boyang. I'm founder of P12. P12 is a Web3 gaming platform and game creator ecosystem. So we come from a gaming platform background. On top of gaming platform, we also create a full set of gaming infra, including our game editor, which can allow those who have a dream to create games to be able to do so. Our ultimate vision is to create open source games, to create a modding ecosystem where game designers can create on top of each other's work and bring the magnitude of game creation as well as game creators to the next level. You can check out more. I believe many of the audience will be familiar with P12 already, but if you haven't done so, you can check out our official website, which is at p12.network. Right. Also, one of the main theme for today will be esports and P12 Arcana, the current campaign that is running on fire. You can also join P12 Arcana from the link that has been sent by our colleague. So yeah, that's a brief intro.
Yeah, just a quick comment, guys. You can claim the oath of this AMA using the Google form that we post in the YouTube live comment section, and also you can join P12 Arcana and check out P12 Arcana on the link that we sent on the comment section of YouTube as well. Thank you, thank you. And for now, let's move on to the team background intros. Dongbao, please, you can take over. San Diego?
Yeah. Let's just jump to the team intro because we heard a lot of reasons, a lot of why we be doing all this, and so now we want to hear more about the team backgrounds. So Boyang and Max, can you tell us more about the team members of P12 and the Quest3? I mean, I know a lot of about P12 because I'm working for P12, right? But we have a lot of new friends here, so why don't you guys share more about your team backgrounds? Boyan, can you start?
Sure. So so we come from a hybrid background, really. The team, so majority of the teams are hardcore video game fans, but we also are early in crypto and blockchain. About myself, I was trained as a computer scientist. I get my first Bitcoin in 2014 and started working full-time in crypto in 2018. We built a DEX back then and sold to a centralized exchange. For us, the calling has always been gaming. So from there, we started to build games and gaming platforms. We have had some pretty significant achievements in traditional gaming as well. And now we are moving to Web3 gaming, which is as we all know, the ultimate fusion of Web3 and gaming to create the next big thing for the industry. Apart from this, I'm a big time Vocaloid fan. I watch offline Miku live concerts. I've watched two TIs offline. This will be the third coming up. Actually, currently running in Singapore. I've just played tons of games. We can go into these later on. But other than that, I also shitpost on many subreddits and just enjoy memeing with other game fans. So that's about us.
Yeah. I didn't really know that you started to, actually know about Bitcoin back in 2014. We should have this conversation, more because, we don't even know each other that well. But, well, boy, I'm a Bitcoin OG and obviously a game lover. So what about you, Max? Can you tell us more about, Quest3, how you guys, why you guys started Quest3 in the first place?
That's a good question. Yeah, so actually, I'm going to give you the quick team intro first, and then I'm going to answer your question in quite a second. So our team here at Quest is quite globally oriented. So besides me here in Europe, most of our team members are currently residing in Asia. We also have colleagues in Australia, and as a rapidly growing crypto hub, I mean, Singapore is also of great importance to us, and Quest will soon also be opening a new office there as well. In addition to our focus on the Southeast Asian markets, we also want to strengthen our presence here in Europe, as well as in North and South America, as well as in Africa, where we've already created plenty of connections, also in the GameFi scene. The team itself has gained valuable experience in renowned Web2 tech and finance firms, as well as in app development for more than 10 to 15 years. And in the past year, we've also established an incubator called Hogwarts Labs to help us as a monitoring organization to manage our resources and also our global network. And despite large distances, I think, and also the language differences sometimes, we're a very great team, and it's really fun to work with these guys and grow on new challenges day by day. Answering your question now, so something we saw a couple months ago, and just to keep in mind, we came up with the idea this year in April or May. And we kind of saw that on a lot of like Web2 platforms, just like on YouTube, for example, people had to watch ads in order to get to the content that they initially planned to see. But they didn't get anything back for their anything back in return for their efforts and time that they wasted on the platform watching ads. And so we thought, there's maybe a need to create something like a Web3 native and also sustainable user growth platform for the Web3 ecosystem, where not only ads are displayed in a more gamified kind of way, but also to connect all these different ecosystems and all these different communities and come together at one place where we have not only GameFi projects, but also all sorts of other projects that can also connect on our platform and get together and learn about new kind of projects and products that are coming up. So that was like the main idea that we had. And at this point, about a couple months later, we're integrating more and more features along the way. and it's getting more and more solid and reaching also levels that we maybe haven't even thought of in the beginning.
Yeah, thank you. Interesting shares, and it's quite amazing and incredible to see Quest 3 thrive. Since you guys just had the ideas back in April this year, we do see a robust platform as a questing engine, and also we see incredible UIs and designs. Those are just amazing. I mean, I can't think of another word to describe it. And yeah, moving on to the next question. Um, as everybody knows that this AMA is about Web3 gamings, and we would actually love to hear our guest opinions on Web3 gamings and gamings in general, and also gaming's role and future, I would say, development in the Web3 space. LZ, can you start?
Oh, sure. That'll be lovely. Thank you for, the context. So I would like to really guide you through the evolution of blockchain gaming. So in 2018, 2019, we have Axie Infinity being created in Vietnam, where I am currently. So it did not get the fame that it got till about 2020, 2021, when the DeFi summer happened and there's more traction going on, there's more capital in the space. So it kickstarted an entire wave of play-to-earn games, or what people like to call GameFi, which I really hate. And this was proved very unsustainable purely on the fact that these games were not meant, or like these games were not enjoyable. So now I need to take a bigger leap back. So into the early 2000s, games like MapleStory, RuneScape, which may sound a bell or may ring a bell to the older people, were not play-to-earn games by design. But since the game were fun and they were popular, the players themselves actually created this economy that thrived. There was an open marketplace where players trade in-game currencies with fiat and traded rare in-game items. And this was done by the players without intention to profit. So when they put in capital to buy an item or buy the in-game currency, they are not thinking of profiting. Their main idea was to play the game. So if we bring this concept to Web3, I think if the developers of games places a larger emphasis on the quality of the games, focusing on the fun aspect rather than the earn aspect, I think this would change the motivation for why users would play the game. So this balance is actually very intricate. And while it's been 2 years since the GameFi bubble or the GameFi hype train, we did see a shift where we're starting to see more amazing games coming up, and of course we are hoping to see more on BNBChain. Yep.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the feedback. And yeah, being one of the core opinion by P12, we do think that the playability, which is the fun part of the games, should always come before the earn part of the games. And that is why during our previous AMA sessions, we have promoted a mechanism called play to invest. That would also suggest such models to be not put the earning part of the games as a priority, but instead the playability part and the fun part of the game as priority. Thank you for sharing. And yeah, Max, let's hear your thoughts on Web3 gamings and gamings in general.
Yeah, so I think first of all, I have to say that I really agree with LC here. A lot of good points mentioned. So I think within the last couple of years and also month, we've seen quite a few things happening in the space, from billions in investments, even though the majority of the users that are playing games these days do not know about anything that's going on in the Web3 gaming space. I think that especially on Quest 3, we've seen quite a high percentage of Web3 gamers and also quite a high percentage of Web3 GameFi projects. And even though this is like I mentioned, a bear market kind of situation right now, I do see high potential in this area. But like LC mentioned, just like he mentioned before, there has to be the fun aspect, and that has to be like the most important thing to these game creators. And also the focus has to be on game quality rather than just play to earn and copying the same game kind of idea over and over again. And I think something we've also seen at this point is that there are a lot of plenty of new projects and teams also entering the space, teams that have a lot of experience back in it from other games outside of Web3. So there is definitely a lot of potential around, and I think something that's interesting for sure is the ownership of in-game assets. That's something that interests me personally because I also know a couple of projects that are working on a interoperable platform for selling and trading these assets. So that's something that's quite interesting for me. But besides, like Elsie mentioned, I think the fun aspect and the game quality needs to still needs to improve in the future and in the next couple months. And then also something to mention here, we're also going to talk about it later on, but the accumulation of Web3 users and how to kind of bridge these two ecosystems is also another issue.
Yep. Thank you. And yeah, as I said earlier, P12's core opinion is always about playabilities and making games fun and making it playable instead of just to earn. And that is why our core products, our GameFi infrastructures, our game editor exist, and we committed heavy R&D process for those products and services, just to empower and make sure that we have high quality gaming environments in the Web3 space. Boyang, can you add on to the previous context?
Sure. So our take on this topic, especially the nature of gaming, we really come from a perspective where we see game as a media form. So if you think about this, gaming or games in general is a programmable superset for interactive content, right? You have the video component, you have the music component, as well as interactivity, such that the players can interact with the game and change the results. It's downward compatible to videos or short form videos. So in this regard, we really envision that games in the future will take over, and all the 3 billion users who are, say, watching videos every day or reading articles every day will one day become daily active game players, right? So to accelerate this vision, that's why we are building gaming infra, we are building the game editor. And in this regard, the combination with Web3 idioms, the combination with all the Web3 mechanisms and tokenomics is natural. I'll just give one example here. So in our ecosystem, after someone have created a game, others can come in and mod on top of this game, right? This modding culture, this ecosystem in the past has been only exist for amateurs, for those fans who are willing to give their games for free. But once you have royalty, once you have revenue sharing, you can have more creators to come in and be willing to share their games, share their game templates to others. You can mod on top of each other, and this will really boost the value that can be created in the ecosystem, and it will boost the number of games and the diversity and variety of games that can be created from the ecosystems. That's why gaming will take over the world, and Web3 gaming is an inevitability, right? That's our take on this topic.
Yeah, thank you, Boya. And I do see that you mentioned modding and also open source games, and we'll be stepping in and we'll be exploring more details on that on the upcoming questions. Yeah, thank you guys for the kind intros and also the great opinions shared. I can see that many of the participants today are familiar faces from P12 community. Let us move on to the second part of the AMA, the Q&A session. In this session, we'll be covering many undisclosed details about P12 Arcana and interesting facts that you might not already know. Please pay attention, and also a friendly reminder here. We do have an ode for this AMA, and if you're interested, please hop on to the YouTube comment section and click the link on the Google form and win the rewards. All right. Moving on to the second part of the AMA. Before we talk about P12 Arcana, let's first ask some most demanding questions from the crowd. Here comes our first one. Boyang, how do you think esports align with P12's vision, or might as well just the vision of the entire Web3 gaming industries?
Right, that's a very interesting question. So one of our theses is that in a sustainable gaming ecosystem, there are many people who are willing to pay for the experience. That's how you make the economy sustainable. There are those who are willing to pay, and there are those who can be rewarded from playing the games, right? Esports is a great example of this. The wide audiences, those who actually love the games, the spectators, the players, they enjoy the experiences fully, and so much so that they are willing to pay a lot of money. Many of them would bet on the win or lose of their favorite games. They will buy mercs, they will buy tickets to these matches. And this is where you have people pay for the experience, and all of this reward in the traditional world has been distributed to, say, channels, or been distributed to clubs or other intermediaries. In the Web3 world, we see a great potential where these rewards can be sent directly to those match players, to the right, to the other players who are actually the stakeholders, who are the contributors to these esports events. So in this regard, we definitely see that esports can become another successful economic model in the post play to earn era. And another effect would be that esports tournaments are a channel where you can attract many Web2 players to come in. Right? Many of them know these games very well. They love the games, they love the tournaments, and then when they see these new elements being added to their favorite tournaments, they will be more willing to give it a try. And that's exactly what we are trying now.
Yeah, I totally agree. Web3 needs new users, and out of the existing users that are already Web3 savvy. So gamings and esports should be and will be a good way to onboard new users, especially from the Web 2 or the Web 2.5 as a new concept that we were saying lately, into the Web 3 world with interactions and all those wallets. Yeah, those kind of things. Thank you for sharing. And moving on to the next question. This question is for LZ. LZ, as BNBChains and BAB tokens being the co-host of this event, can you tell us more about Web3 gaming and esports and how they align with BNBChain's vision? And also, how will BAB tokens holders benefit from Web3 gaming communities in terms of future plans?
Got it. I mean, that's a good question. So let me just tackle the first part of things before we enter the BAB conversation. So esports is a huge market. We have Dota 2 with like 1 million peak players, League of Legends with many more, of course. And this has been an incredibly huge market, considering the number of Web3 practitioners if you compare the ratio. So from BNBChain's angle, the focus is actually to be poised for every trend that comes, not just esports, but every other industry. And we need to make sure that we have the right infrastructure in place to support these applications. So I really believe if you can bring more players into blockchain gaming, it will push adoption for sure, not just for Web3 gaming, but Web3 as a whole, because you expose them to different aspects of Web3, like the DeFi side, the staking side. So I think that's really interesting. With regards to the second question, how BAB token comes into play when you incentivize users. So I think that's a good question. For people who are not aware, BAB token is a soulbound token issued by Binance.com to KYC users on BNB chain. So basically, it allows applications to actually know that you're a real person or like a real verified user without knowing your details. So I think it's a good balance between not being dogs and yet giving the DApps assurance that you're a real verified user. So with this, I think it could definitely lead to more adoption, where more players are comfortable playing these decentralized apps without doxing themselves. I think that's the overall idea.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. So, as we were mentioning, and Boyang were saying, and also Max were saying the same thing, that we were, our mission and our just future plans would be to onboard more gamers into the Web3 space. And given that P12 just reached 580K verified users in our airdrop and our user platforms, what this is actually a temporal, a quick questions out of the arranged plan for LZ. How do you think P12 will be the one, or will be a suitable projects, to make Web3 gaming thrive, and also to, to onboard more new users as possible?
Of course. I think this is a fairly interesting question, and it will boil down to two reasons. So the reason why we are actually supporting P12 with this Arcana event, um, I think it shows huge potential, and the main reason is the product market fit, right? So most DApps and most projects in this space, they are creating problems to solve, not solving real problems. And of course, we do see that P12 is addressing a very big market, the esports market. And this is why we are kind of interested. And not to mention the very strong team background, which Bo Yang actually mentioned briefly about how they created projects in the past. And I think this is the reason. Having a team that has a track record of delivering is not hard. It's not easy to find. And this gave us the confidence to explore deeper collaborations with you guys. So as an ecosystem, we are, however, on the lookout for innovative projects and strong teams. So I would like to say this is not exclusive to P12. So if you're interested to have a chat, our BDs are on the ground. We have people almost in every continent. So just hit us up, share more details with us, and we would definitely love to support more projects like that. So the second reason, I think it's the addressable market. Dota 2 is actually, I would say, a global phenomenon, and it's an international event with huge fan base, huge viewership. I think last year when I was watching TI10, prize pool was like $35 million. And I wasn't looking this year, but I think it's like 20 million at this moment. So I would say this is like the World Cup or the FIFA for esports. In our impression, I think this could be a very good funnel for players to start being aware and start trying out blockchain, the differences that it brings. So I think this is the two main reasons we are supporting P12.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. And just an interesting fact for all the audience out here today. If you guys don't know yet, P12 Arcana, our main event that we're carrying out, co-hosted by BNBChain and Quest3, are actually the number 9th projects with the highest DAUs in the entire BNBChain ecosystem. So yeah, go check it out on Depth Radar. We're on the ranking list. And LZ, we've been talking about a lot in terms of Dota 2s. And you personally said that you have more than 4,000 hours of plays on Dota 2. Which team are you supporting during TI11?
Well, that's a good question. I haven't had time to start watching, but I think in the small snippets that I see, EG is doing pretty well. So yeah, I think that's pretty interesting.
Oh yeah, Evo Genesis. How about your favorite players? Any favorite in the
Wow.
from the past or from the present?
Right. So, I've wasted so much time on Dota in my life. And I think it's the Chinese players are actually pretty interesting. We have Bme from LGD. He's always a star player.
What about you, Boya?
Oh well, yeah. My personal favorite player will be Ice. who is also from Singapore, Daryl. He has retired pretty much, but in the past he's played multiple TIs, and he's known to be very creative and very fun personality as well. So that's my favorite player. Team wise, the TI8 OG is actually my favorite team.
All right, thanks for the share coming up from two Dota OGs here with more than 6,000 hours of plays combined together on record. All right, so next question is actually for Boyang, and this question is it's very tightly related to esports and our future plans. So the esport communities are vast and widespread in the entire world, with another huge esport communities being League of Legends. And as we know, they're also doing their AS championships for this year's. And personally, me, I'm a League of Legends player instead of a Dota 2. And our Chinese teams are performing pretty good in the tournament. Will you be considering to carry out another Web3 esport event featuring the League of Legends or any other games? You can expand as you want.
Oh, of course, that's totally possible. We can extend to many of the well-known and loved games. League of Legends being one, PUBG, or even FIFA with World Cup coming up. We see a lot of similarities there, a lot of things in common, and definitely P12 can cover many more of these tournaments.
Yeah, and with that being said, I do see that we mentioned PUBG, and as we said earlier, we are going to talk more about UGCs and also open sourced games. Personally, I know that all project codes of Dota 2s are open source and available for contributors and to improve and modify it. And as far as I know, PUBG is also a modding game based out of the game called Daisy. So we would like to hear what you think about Web 2 and Web 3 gamings in terms of open source games and their relationship with UGC contents in the gaming industries, Boya.
Yep. So that's one of the theses that we've been always emphasizing for Project 12. So if you look at the trail of past 2 decades or so, there are some great gameplays being created. There's tower defense, there's MOBA, represented by League of Legends and Dota, and there's Battle Royale, represented by PUBG, as well as Free Fire and Fortnite. Right, these gameplays, unlike many others believe, were not created by star game directors or AAA studios. These gameplays were created by amateurs. These were created by fans. And how did they do it? They did it using game editors or modding. Like you mentioned, PUBG was a mod of Arma 2, of Daisy, and Daisy was a mod in itself of Arma 2. Right, for Dota's case, it was originally a map out of Warcraft 3 map editor. So from here, we see a clear pattern. When you can combine the power of PGC, who can help you create the game editor or create the framework for creating games, and then you have UGC to come in. There are many players out there, many creative people who would love to create a game, but they do not have the resources, do not have the capability to create one from scratch. So what do? You give them the tool and they can come in and iterate on their ideas. It's not that Dota is destined to become the best game in the world. It's not so. Rather, there are 100 game designers and fans like Ice Frog, Guinsu, Yuo, and many others who jump in and chip in their ideas. This is the pattern that we see, and we want to promote this. We want to scale this up. So how can we do it? That's why we've been building the game editor for more than 2 years by now, is the effort of a few hundred people R&D team. We are also creating the contracts and Web3 idioms such that if your game is being reused by somebody else and that person's game actually took off, you get a share and you get the credits. So this is our take on open source game and modding. With this infrastructure, in the future, you have much more diverse games. Everybody can create, and you can create a game that's only loved by your friends or your small circle. That's fine, right? With this model, we actually see how we can push game to a much wider audience of up to 3 billion daily active user. And we are working hard to accelerate this vision.
Yeah, thank you. And just out of curiosity, I've been hearing a metaphor being TikTok, the relationship between TikTok and their core product CapCut, being the video editors. Um, I've been hearing, a lot of comments and metaphors from the crowd that we're pretty much like the same models of and relationships between TikTok and CapCut. TikTok actually make video editing more accessible and make regular people able to make fantastic videos, short form videos for like 10, 12 seconds. um, you know it's they made it easy, and they developed this amazing product called CapCut, so that average peoples and normal user are able to hop into the video editing industries and get their um, shares and their cherries on top by using CapCut. Would you consider, Boya, would you consider this metaphor correct for P12 and our Plaza editor?
Um, um, we do see the relevance, but there's more to it. So for the case of video, typically you just need the production. You just need the video itself. Whereas for games, you will need live ops, you will need server DevOps, you will need much more support. Where do you get the graphical assets? How do you write the scripts? All your game logic? How do you tweak your gameplay? And so on. We provide support on all of these. Of course, last but not least, the ability to issue NFTs for your games, the ability to issue tokens for your games, and how do you trade these games? How do you trade these game assets, right? How do you provide liquidity for your game assets? We provide support on all of these. That's why we say that this is a full suite, a full-fledged game infra ecosystem. So that on those fronts is much more complicated than the video editing tool that you mentioned. But in effect, it will definitely boost the productivity for game creation, just as the game editing tool did.
Yep, thank you, thank you. All right, so the next question is actually for Max from Quest3. So Max, Quest3 being the sponsor party in P12 Arcana has provided huge support in terms of task completions, and which massively boost the interactive experience of the P12 Arcana overalls, and also the interactive experience in Quest 3. So, what are some new features that Quest 3 developed over the past couple of weeks just for the event? Can you share?
Sure thing. So actually, there are plenty of new features that we have integrated within our platform. Could be, for example, the new unique Q&A quest template, or we also integrated a couple features regarding gas fees. So we can now check the wallet balance and also the gas fees users spent, as well as their on-chain transactions. And besides that, we also added a couple of new features, such as our house own notification system. So users will also be able to be notified once they have participated in a quest, and also have a couple of claimable rewards. That's also something that we have been working on. Apart from that, I think, yeah, there are a lot of features that we're currently working on in order to have more GameFi projects coming in. But I think I'm going to answer that question later on, because I think there's another question going into that kind of area specifically.
Yeah. Um, Thank you. And as we said earlier, we do think that to onboard as many users as possible from the Web2 space are pretty important for the GameFi or the Web3 gaming industries, or not for the entire Web3 space. So, Max, what are some plans or ideas on helping Web3 gaming projects or projects in general to bridge more users and traffics from the Web2?
Yes. So I think something that's always been important for us as a team was to create easy connection points, because there are a lot of like people out there that maybe want to try and get in touch with Web3 ecosystem and also with Web3 tools and DApps, but they just don't know how to do so. And in this case, especially for us, for Quest3 and also for our previous projects, we always try to have easy as possible connection points, whether it is about signing up, but also to have a couple of like put a lot of effort in education and spreading the word, so that projects also put some infos out there how to get started and how to make these processes quite quick and simple, just like on Quest3. So basically, when someone comes to Quest3, they sign up and they can get started within a couple of minutes. It's fully permissionless. I think that's something that's definitely very important. I mentioned the educational part. I think that's also something of great importance to tell the people out there, okay, there's more to Web3 and crypto than just scams or any kind of rug pulls, for example. But there's like so much development happening, not only like in the DApp kind of area, but also in the area of GameFi, and that there are so many projects out there, actually really good projects, promising projects that are really worth looking at and looking into. And yeah, I think spreading the word is also something that's needs to be mentioned here, and that brings me to Quest3 again. So I think maybe it's not only about Web2 to Web3, but also maybe about bringing Web3 already native users to GameFi. So that's also something we were kind of thinking about. And maybe since there are so many different communities coming together on Quest3, there will also be a percentage of users kind of piquing an interest in GameFi projects. So that's also something.
Thank you. All right, that's amazing shares.
Uh,
And San Diego, yes, please.
yeah, Max, that's really well said, because you know what you just said actually remind me of something, about my own friends. They had mixed opinions about Web3, and they always think that it's full of rugs and scams. But in the meantime, they're Dota 2 lovers. So when I actually tell them about this event of P12 Arcana, they love it. And they're new to the crypto, but after I show them how to set up the wallet and everything, I don't need to actually transfer gas price to their wallet, because you don't really need gas. It's all gas free, and they have fun with it. So I think that actually really shows something that we're trying to do here is actually break the boundaries between Web2 and Web3, and trying to do something different, something new, to prove that they're actually people that doing things out of sincere, to trying to do something that really prove the value of what we believe. We're the believers, you know. So yeah, and P12 Arcana is really something that a way that we try to prove the things we've been doing here. So speaking of this event, Isaac, can you share more details in regards to the event, what it's about, and how can people participate in it?
Yeah, for sure. And matter of fact, I do see a comments from Nat Masvin from YouTube comment section. He actually asked us to share or brief more on the ongoing airdrop of P12. Well, it is not exactly an airdrop, but instead a event featuring esports and P12 and Dota 2. So let me dive straight into it. All right. So let me share my screens real quick so everybody can see. And just want to make sure, San Diego, can you share can you see my screen shared?
No, it's not shared.
Okay, give me just a moment. I think Okay, so we're probably having a slight difficulties on sharing on the backstage here, but I can dive in and San Diego, can you?
Isaac, maybe if you share it on StreamYard, then I think our backstage could help you with that. It's
Right.
under present, just the button beside Leave Studio.
Yeah, but yes, I did share.
You want me
I
to
did.
share?
Yes, if you can. And
Sure.
as San Diego are working on the sharing, let's hear more about P12 Arcana and the intro. So P12 Arcana is a Web3 gaming carnivals carried out by P12 and co-hosted by Quest3 and BNBChain. So the actual event is about game tournaments and result predictions, and of course, as you guys already know, it's about Dota 2. And user visit our P12 Arcana sites to support their favorite players and teams, vote to predict key metrics of the games, and we also added another fun activity called P12 OMG.
Can
User
I
can,
see it now?
yes, we can see it.
Actually,
Yes.
yeah.
All right, so as you guys can see by clicking up the big banner from our airdrop site, you'll be able to enter into the P12 Arcana main page. And of course, on the upper right-hand corner, you will see our sponsored partners here. We have BNBChain and Quest3 as our co-host and many other partners as our sponsor partners. Right? And we also added another fun event, as I said previously, called P12 OMG. User can win up to 5,000 in rewards by answering some simple questions about Dota 2 tournaments. And as you can see, it's on the screens right now. And we have already passed our first P12 OMG phase. And we will be considering to launch more phase of P12 OMG for our user to participate. It's really simple. The question is, where is TI11 main event held this year? And obviously, the answer is Singapore. And you can see that our first top winner, called Unknown, have 970 votes, which means that there's a lot of valid invitations from this user. Um, yeah, so that's about P12 Arcana. And when you scroll down, you will actually see more predictions and questions for the users, where you can predict which team or which players that you think will win the contest and will have the most kills. And also, you can also predict what will be the shortest match and what will be the longest match, and how and at what exact time length of that exact match is in the actual contest. And also, you
Yeah,
can
I know I
predict
had
first
some
blood.
terrible options here because I don't really know the W2 game, so just know the event. Don't try to steal my options, guys.
Yeah, we can actually see some pretty interesting and professional predictions in YouTube, as we have our sharing functions, right? So, in regards to the interactive part of of this event, you can actually click the icons on the center to select your choice of the answer. And you can also check out Twitter for our shared predictions by our KOLs and our users for this event. They have some pretty professional ones that are probably gonna win, right? Who knows? And as
A quick note, uh, in this campaign, there's a way to actually sneak peek on others' choices so that you can kind of refer to it just by clicking on the leaderboard. If you go to the leaderboard, just click on one of the other participants, and then you will be able to get into their predictions, and that might give you some inspirations.
Thank you, thank you. I can definitely use some help on that. If it's about League of Legends, I will be definitely knowing my stuff here and some backgrounds. But Dota 2's, yeah, kind of a blind area.
Yeah, this is our leaderboard unknown choice. Not yeah. Can you see now? Or I'm on the wrong page.
Yes, we can see it. So yeah, that's so much about the actual predictions and the actual event itself. And Thanks, guys, for staying tuned for our AMAs, and it's time for us to move forward and talk more into the next part of the AMAs, and this part will be quite short, and we'll be coming up to a conclusion very soon. All right, so the next question is for Max, actually. So this we wanted to ask, what's the reason behind Quest3's decision on co-hosting event with P12?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it real quick and simple. So as a all-in-one marketing tool collection, Quest is definitely willing to empower BNBChain and project parties within the BNB ecosystem. And since there are plenty of GameFi projects around on our page, we hope that more and more users as well as projects can get to know Quest3 through the P12 Arcana event. And P12 has been a close partner of us for quite some time and was also one of the first projects listed on our platform as part of our launch campaign 2 months ago. So we're more than happy to co-host this event with such a renowned name in the GameFi field on BNBChain. And for this event, like I said, Quest has designed a lot of new Quest templates, such as also the visit a web page Quest or the Q&A Quest. And in the future, we'll provide more dedicated templates also related to platforms like Steam, as well as Xbox Live or the PlayStation ecosystem and other traditional Web2 gaming platforms and apps to enable more Web3 gaming projects and users to join us on our path.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. And
Yeah, I'll quickly take on one of the questions that I see from the audience. So Joseph was asking if there's any audit for the project, for Project 12. So the short answer is yes. We have now gathered 2 audit reports. And from where can you see it? For that, I'm sharing my screen. Hopefully everybody can see it, but if not, I'm actually sharing the official website of P12, and on the second page, there's a list of links, and you can go to our GitHub or just white paper, Project 12. If you go to contracts, which is the mono repo for all contracts, you will find audits, right? So far, we have 2 audits with more coming up. That's hope that answers your question. Right.
all right, thank you for the quick take. And yeah, moving on to the next questions. We have our one last questions for Mask here. As official questing engines of P12 Arcana, what kind of supports will Quest3 provide? Yeah, in general and specifically for P12 Arcana.
I guess that's a great question for me in general. So BNBChain, of course, as mentioned by Isaac and Bo Yang, we're one of the biggest sponsors of this event itself. And we are working with P12 really closely to provide a guestless solution to kind of encourage adoption. So the new users will not have to worry about potential issues or having to fund the wallet. So I really recommend every user to actually try out the process. It is pretty seamless. So of course, BNBChain on our side, we are also heavily encouraging our community members who may be interested in esports to actually try out P12 in general. So I think we do see this as a very innovative way of encouraging new on-chain users and all new transactions. And yeah, I think this is the broad idea of how we support P12.
Yeah, and another interesting fact is that the actual event is on chain, and also we will be covering all gas fees for our users thanks to the BNBChain sponsor, and so that users can enjoy a seamless and gas-free transaction and interactive experience in P12 Arcana. All right, the same question actually roll over to Max. What kind of supports will Quest3 provide as an official questing engine?
So I think something we already mentioned before, of course, the new kind of Quest templates and everything, like every time we have these kind of campaigns happening, also soon with BNBChain, there will be banners on our page, there will be co-marketing, and of course, also the support to have customizable and also like a custom approach to this whole setup and to figure out, okay, how can we set this up in the best way so that both sides are actually happy, and how can we do it in a really, really sustainable way also to get all the users from the platform together, and how can we get them to notice what's actually going on. And I think since we have such a great campaign setup, there will definitely be a lot of people interested in seeing what's going on there. Not only the people that are here today with us in the chat, but also all the other users that I mentioned on the platform.
All right, thank you, thank you. So guys, and to all the audience here still listening to this AMA, we are almost approaching to an end for the AMAs. And as we were mentioning earlier, you can actually check our leaderboard on P12 Arcana page on the very upper right-hand corner to see their predictions and their choices and follow along. Yeah, it's not. I don't see it as cheating, but instead as a way to get professional advice for this event. And yeah, you are more likely to win by seeing their professional answers. And thank you guys for joining today, and thanks everyone for joining today. We have posted our oath link as a Google form in the comment section of the YouTube. And also we have posted another link on Quest3 where user can join and win the $100 USDT rewards by random raffles. All right. So if you guys are interested, please go check it out and claim our oaths, and also join the Quest3 missions and get onto the raffle list of this $100 USDC. And by getting here, you will see a series of questions that you will need to answer in P12 Arcana. By getting 100% of the questions correct, you will be whitelisted to claim your AMA oaths in Galaxy within a couple of business days. All right. Thank you guys for joining, and let's call it an end here, guys.